Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Keith Silva, in for Fran Stoddard. Our focus today is on a piece of Vermont history. It centers around the American Civil War Battle of Cold Harbor, which was fought in northeastern Virginia. For 13 days, the battle raged between the armies of General Robert E. Lee and Ulysses S. Grant. The 1st Vermont Brigade, known as the Old Brigade, fought at Cold Harbor along with Vermont's own fighting farmer, General George Stannard. Historians count Cold Harbor as one of the bloodiest and most lopsided victories the Confederate Army ever achieved. Let's join Civil War and Vermont historian Howard Coffin as he describes the fighting and the feeling he and many visitors get when they visit battlefields, hallowed ground where Howard says something abides.
In great deeds, something abides. On great fields, something stays. And reverent men and women from afar shall come to this desolate field to ponder and dream, and lo, the shadow of a mighty presence shall wrap them in its bosom, and the power of the vision pass into their souls. Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain on Battlefields. Here at Cold Harbor, one senses that something remarkable and mighty happened. It was one of the great battles of the Civil War that is now a quiet place of tall pine trees and bird song. I have never been here, and I suppose it's 20 times I've visited this place, that I haven't had the feeling of some kind of power. And I've never sent anyone to see Cold Harbor that didn't come away having felt a peculiar, powerful experience. On the morning of June 3rd, 1864, Ulysses Grant launched an attack on a 6-mile front, sending his men against well-prepared Confederate entrenchments. The Union soldiers had been looking at those entrenchments for a couple of days, and they knew it was suicidal. Yet when the order was given to advance at first light on the 3rd of June, they moved out of their earthworks and started across this field, and they were immediately under a vicious fire, crossfire, musketry and artillery, and within about 15 minutes, 7,000 men had been shot down. The attack was a hopeless failure, the only mistake on a battlefield that Ulysses Grant ever admitted making. The Union soldiers fell back where they could and dug in, and the trench warfare that lasted more than a week went on in the heat of a Virginia summer. We're here between the lines where the wounded lay for days in the blazing sun. Tries were made at night to bring some of them in, and some succeeded, but the snipers on either side were picking off any effort like that. So the wounded lay here and suffered without food and water and slowly died. Finally, Lee and Grant came to a truce that was to last for an hour. The soldiers of both sides met out on this no man's land and brought in what living men there were left, and then the fighting went on. Behind me are 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of earthworks, trenches here, and another one, and another one, and another one. I count 7 rows of earthworks here where the Union soldiers dug in after the great attack at Cold Harbor, trying to stay alive. They lived for more than a week in these trenches, always under fire, always under the blazing sun. At Cold Harbor, the Confederates had been here days before the Union troops got here, and they had had time to prepare intricate defenses. Very few Union soldiers got near or into these Confederate works, but George Stannard's men did. He drove his soldiers over the earthworks, fought within the earthworks, but in the end was unable to hold his position and was forced to retreat back across this no man's land. It was a mighty try for Stannard here at Cold Harbor amidst one of the great slaughters of the Civil War.
Thank you, Howard. We turn from U.S. history to a few pieces of UVM history. Across the Fence met Sal Chiarelli a couple of years before he retired from the University of Vermont after 21 years working and leading UVM's physical plant department. Before Sal left, he gifted the university with a building that has become an on-campus home for some flighty residents. Sal Chiarelli is a wood turner, and sometimes he makes mistakes.
Sometimes you become impatient and you always try to take that one last cut, maybe to make the bowl a little thinner or something like that. And, sometimes you pop a hole in the bottom and you're like, oh my God, I just ruined this thing,
What Chiarelli's done is turn those mistakes into birdhouses or works of art. He's not 100% sure.
I don't know if I'll ever consider myself an artist, but I'm a guy who knows how to put some stuff together.
For a craftsman like Chiarelli, the proverbial necessity is the mother of invention is a call to action. So he took the ruined bowls and got to work.
One day I started playing with them and putting them on top of each other to see if I could make something out of them, glue them together, maybe a birdhouse kind of thing. And so that's when I got the idea, maybe I'll just slide him over a pole and kind of make like a totem pole kind of thing with a birdhouse on top. So the first one I made outside was actually a bunch of failed projects that I kind of turned into something unique, And the reaction from, some of my friends and neighbors, that's pretty cool, So then I started designing them to be like that instead of just like mistakes.
The birdhouses begin as wooden planks. Chiarelli laminates the wood using glue and huge clamps. He then uses a lathe to turn this square block of wood into a circle.
A lot of times the wood dictates what you're making. Laminating all those pieces together, making sections, and then interconnecting them with a piece that's of a contrasting color to make it look like it's a continuous flow up to the top.
Over on his metalworking lathe, Chiarelli makes all the jigs and fixtures he uses to do his wood turning.
I learned how to run a metal lathe when I was 13 years old, so I was always around machines growing up. I could make something really precision on metal, and not too many people could get the concept of how we make it. But now you make a bowl or present something that's made out of wood, everybody gets it, and it's kind of like something that people could use too on a daily basis. So it's nice to combine the both skills together. I really enjoy the precision of the metal and also the creativity of the wood.
Wood turning affords Chiarelli creativity that he doesn't always get in his day job. What is your day job?
I'm the director of physical plant at UVM.
UVM's physical plant maintains over 6 million square feet of facilities, from classrooms and research laboratories to offices and athletic fields. It's on an old athletic field where our story takes a turn. UVM's physical plant needed a new storage facility. Chiarelli saw an opportunity to reuse an old field that hadn't been played on for some time.
UVM used to have a football team, as we know. They were undefeated since 1974, right? And the bleachers that were there were huge. I mean, they seated 5,000, 6,000 people. We actually decided, as a university, we were going to take them down. I saw some value in the structure. The structure was sound. The steel was solid. It was galvanized. It would be up for another 100 years. So we were able to, over the course of 2 years, convert the bleacher structure into a storage facility.
Given his Yankee ingenuity, you can guess what Chiarelli decided to do with the wood from the bleachers.
I thought it would be a nice thing to make one of these birdhouses for the university using that wood. 3 of my kids went to UVM, so I have a real connection between working there. I'm really dedicated to the university and grateful. And so this is kind of like a full circle thing with not only myself, but also with the wood coming from the bleachers, being turned into something that will be standing hopefully for, maybe a dozen or 2 dozen years or something like that.
When the birdhouse is finished, it will be installed in the gardens alongside the Jeffords building.
It's kind of neat to be able to put something together out of nothing. That's kind of like what I like to do is get stuff that like nobody else wants, and you can make something really nice out of it. And that makes me feel good, especially knowing that the stuff that I'm making it out of came from the university, and it's going back to the university. So even though the bleachers are gone, the story lives on.
From old bleachers to a new feature at UVM, this is a story that's going to turn out all right. Sal continues to turn out birdhouses in his retirement, and he's taken up wood carving as well. That's our program for today. I want to thank the crew here at WCAX for making this program possible, and as always, thank you for stopping by Across the Fence.